Coach, I've talked about the running game. That it hasn't hurt the offense in the last couple of years, but it hasn't really helped the offense in the last couple of years. What can you do? What do you envision it being a part of this offense? Because it's been a pretty prolific offense without that aspect. How good can you see that going with what you're planning?
Well, I mean, that was the intriguing part about, returning to IU is just looking at the overall offensive system that they have, man, great minds up there, and being able to come in and just put some touches in that running back room to help, to continue to upgrade that. So, some of the things as far as the run reads, just some of the things we emphasize in there as far as the eyes, footwork, timing, pace to velocity, et cetera, the things that it takes for a great runner to be successful. Those are the things that's being stressed currently, and that was going on through the spring. So I'm very confident as we get into the season and live situations that those things will bear out. The more exciting part is you got your full complement. So you got all these guys here. You got, David Ellis, and you got Steven. You got a bunch of guys that you didn't have access to in the spring that you'll get a chance to see what they do here when we get rolling.
You don't carry the Super Bowl and the NBA trophy with you?
No, I don't carry that Super Bowl trophy or Super Bowl ring with me. I do wear it at times, but the Emmy is sitting at the house too, so it's all good. That's superficial in the grand scheme of it, because when you come in here, man, you got to roll up your sleeves and earn an honest day's pay.
Kevin and Dustin.
Ball security, how much are you a stickler for it? What have you seen so far from the spring in terms of those guys, and how important is that going to be in your evaluation and your decision making in terms of who are going to be the guys that carry the ball?
It's very, very important. I mean, I went through our vision statement yesterday with the guys, and the number one thing was you will protect the quarterback and you'll protect the football. You can't do those things, you can't play. So I think just my history with running backs as far as ball security has been on the upper end, and just understanding the importance of it for our team and our overall success. That'll continue to be stressed. So everything counts. I tell these guys, everything counts. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at drills, ball security, how you pass protection, all the aspects of running back play will be evaluated. Finishing plays down the field, that was a big thing today. I said you should stand out on tape. There's a bunch of things that you can stand out on tape for, and I'm looking forward to watching this practice tape in a little bit.
Dustin and Griffin.
Just to keep going on that, as far as when you're evaluating, who starts, who plays, how much, is it about just being the most complete guy? Is there anything that's weighed, I guess, is there any aspect of the game that you think, I don't want to say you think is more important, but I guess just is more critical to who you decide to put out there, whether it's ball security or explosiveness or anything like that, or is it just the most complete guy?
I think it's the most complete guy. Because I don't want to be in a position where we got to pass and I don't trust this guy in pass protection. Or we got a situation where, man, I really don't trust him. He's a great runner, but he fumbled, every 20 carries or something like that. So those are things, the guy got to be a complete guy. You got to be able to do everything. Yes, you'll put guys in positions to maximize things, but as far as who your starter would be, he needs to be the most complete guy. You can complement with guys who got strengths in other areas, but your starter is going to be your most complete player.
Griffin and Zach.
Coach, just curious about the tone of the day. Obviously, day one coming back, getting guys back. Obviously, guys are excited, but kind of how do you kind of temper that out, making sure focus is still there, still getting back to work?
Well, I think it was a great plan put together overall. With Coach Wellman's input as far as not having today be a very long day, because you can start getting diminishing returns. You got all this energy coming back, and next thing you know, you practicing for 2.5 hours is just too much. So we're doing a great job of ramping it up, keeping the guys, and just kind of tempering it and building towards what we want, as opposed to coming out and letting everything fly today. I know there was a study in the NFL that talked about after day 3, day 4 with soft tissue injuries, that occur with guys as far as if you come out with too much activity. So we're doing a good job of kind of tempering it, building towards what we want. So that's a way that you can kind of compartmentalize that to a degree, and so you don't climax too soon.
Zach and Tom.
I guess Coach Allen mentioned yesterday that he's even kind of picked your brain about setting up practice, setting up weekly schedules, sort of some of the stuff you talk about there, just sort of saying, hey, what's it like at the NFL level where there's all the resources to really study and drill down the details? What are some things that maybe you kind of bring back to the NFL, not even just talking about coaching techniques, but stuff like that you can kind of say, this is, maybe a new kind of cutting edge way to manage practice or players or
Well, the schedule that we're doing right now was adopted from what we did in the NFL. So this training camp schedule is, I proposed it a couple weeks ago, to the coordinators, and then obviously ultimately to Coach Allen, and that's kind of what we rolled with. So putting together some things where basically by the time we get to dinner time, at 5:30, 5:40, I think it is, this entire day is wrapped up as far as the install for the practice this morning. We'll lift, we'll watch the film, and then we'll do a walkthrough that'll be a continuation of the practice that we just had. So when the guys go to dinner, so after dinner, everything is preparing for the next day. So that's something different, than what was here in the past. The guys seem to like it because they get an opportunity to get information, sleep on it, come in the morning, we have another meeting kind of to brush up on that stuff, and then we go. So, it's real good as far as just internalizing the learning process, getting an opportunity to digest it, ask questions the next day, and then go out and perform. So that's something we did. All of the internships I did, but then definitely at the Chiefs, that's definitely what we did. So those are some of the things as far as just kind of programming for success, scheduling for success.
Tom, then Evan.
Two-pronged question. In David Ellis's first couple of years here, he's been sort of a Swiss Army knife thing, kind of bouncing back and forth between receiver room and running back room. What do you expect from him this year, for one? And then what do you think of the pass catching abilities of the rest of the guys in the room?
Well, David Ellis, I like him a lot. When you start talking about some of the higher end skill sets of the guys on offense, David Ellis' names continue to come up. The thing I want as a running back coach, I need him to show, I know he's a dynamic athlete, but when you're talking about at the running back position, I want him to be able to show some of that grit and toughness as far as hitting that up inside, moving the pile, getting behind his pass, being a complete player who can play with velocity and power also. I know he can play with finesse, bounce stuff to the outside, but I want him to be able to put his foot in the ground, run through somebody's face, be strong in pass protection, a complete guy. So those are some of the things I'm looking to see David take the next step to. As far as some of the other guys that catching the ball, I know Coach Hurd was joking with me today, saying, I don't know what you guys doing today. So, you got Charlie Spiegel catching little wheel routes, But that's what competition does, and that's what you want in there. So I always tell the backs, I say this would be across the board, but I tell the backs it should always be a situation where you either separating or gaining. I said that's the way this room operates. You separating from guys or you gaining on guys. So I said what you get in the end, you get a bunch of guys who continue to push each other to high level. So Charlie and all the rest of the guys see, here's what the standard is, here's what the goals are for this room. Look, I need to go ahead and jump on in or I'm going to get past that. So that's the tone you want in there. It's collective, guys working hard. But as far as the guys catching the ball, that goes, all the guys, are showing proficiency at that, who maybe in the past otherwise didn't show.
Evan and then Jim.
You guys heard the next year against the PD Award last year. What have you seen from him that makes him a guy whose name kind of keeps coming up?
I didn't hit the name you said.
Davion,
Okay.
that he keeps kind of coming up besides those main guys. What have you seen out of him?
Well, he's doing good. He had an opportunity to get a lot more reps last spring just because of the guys who were injured. So now it's a situation where those guys who weren't participating in spring, the guys who participated in spring, you got a pretty good baseline as to what they are and what they can do. Now I need to find out what these other cats can do. I need to see how Stephen Carr, what he got. I need to evaluate Samson James. I need to evaluate Tim Baldwin more with me. I need to evaluate David Ellis. So, Davion, we know he's one of his greatest abilities is his dependability. That's a guy that okay, he's going to be able to do all the things you need for him to do at a particular level, but you still need to evaluate the other guys. So Davion, he got the mentality you want. He got the skill set that definitely can help us, but we still need to evaluate these other dudes.
Jim.
Coach, I know it's early, way early, but what is the odds of someone like Charlie Spiegel seeing the field this year? Guy's a walk-on, but I keep hearing his name, and so obviously he's doing a lot of things.
I don't know. That's the beauty of it. We're gonna get going in here. I know I like what I see as far as even in the spring. Don't nobody want to tackle the guy. That's a good quality to have. Nobody want to tackle the dude. So that's something you want to continue to play off of. Continuing to get Charlie to play with more urgency. He has done that. Getting him to play with more detail. He has done that. Getting him to be more expressive. I mean, he's a pretty low tone, monotone guy. But again, when you ask him questions about the details and the technique, he knows those answers. So, you just want him to continue to develop, play with confidence, understand what we're trying to have him do, and then let the chips fall where they may. So guys, they got their marching orders coming out today. It's very clear on what we're doing, how we evaluate the guys. I said, look, it may be a situation where in a set of 25 plays, you might have 5. I said, for me coming from the NFL, that's what it was. You might have got evaluated on that. Make it work. Be detailed. Finish down the field. Show up on tape. And Charlie, I haven't watched the tape, but at least what I seen outside with the bare eye one time, I did like. So Charlie, just like the other guys, he's gonna get a fair evaluation, and then we see what happens.
Luke, go ahead.
During your past time with the team, you worked pretty well with the walk-on backs. What did you see in those past walk-ons, and what do you see with this current group of walk-ons that you're currently working with?
Well, I see the same things. That's the encouraging part. I think, when I was here before, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them guys got scholarships. Zeke Roundtree and Anthony Davis and all them guys. Andrew Wilson, Ricky Brookins and all them. So, I mean, I see very similar things. A hunger, understanding the attention to detail, understand capturing the moment. When your time comes, you got to make it happen. The thing is, I won't give those guys the opportunity for their time to come if they don't show me and have my confidence. Now, once they get my confidence, then it's my job to put them in a position to get the offensive coordinator and the head coach's confidence. So, Davion, opportunity. Chris Childers, the guy's been showing up. We just got done talking about Charlie. So, just encouraged by the guys. You never know what's going to happen, but it'll never be, as far as I'm concerned, a guy under me, whether he a scholarship or a walk-on guy, who said, Coach McCullough ain't give me an opportunity to show what I got.
All right, thanks, Deland.